Welcome to Toxic Ties for Part 2 of recognizing the 9 signs you may have poor boundaries. Toxic Ties emphasizes that everyone's boundaries get tested from time to time, but those with poor boundary maintenance frequently have difficulty maintaining healthy relationships. And that's where these 9 warning signs come in. They're crucial to identifying whether or not you have healthy limits in your relationship. Please watch Part 1 for Parts 1 through 4 signs you have poor boundaries. Let's continue. Number 5. You have difficulty deciding. You're standing in the middle of a crowded street, trying to decide where to go for lunch. Your friends are throwing out suggestions left and right, and you can feel yourself getting overwhelmed. You're always indecisive when it comes to making plans, and it's because you have weak boundaries that crumble under the weight of other people's criticism and suggestions. You want to please everyone and avoid conflict, so you find yourself saying yes to things you don't really want to do. But today, something is different. You've been working on developing a healthy ego and standing up for yourself. You've learned that it's important to accept yourself for who you are, regardless of what other people think. So when your friends suggest a restaurant you know you won't enjoy, you take a deep breath and speak up. You tell them you appreciate their suggestions, but you have a different idea in mind. Your friends are surprised at first, but quickly realize you're serious. You suggest a restaurant that you've been wanting to try, and your friends are excited to go along with your plan. As you walk towards the restaurant, you feel a sense of pride and empowerment. You realize that standing up for yourself doesn't have to be scary or confrontational. It can be as simple as expressing your own preferences and being true to yourself. From now on, you know that you won't let the opinions of others factor into your decision-making process. You'll make choices that are right for you and learn to say no when necessary. You're excited to continue developing your healthy ego and strengthening your boundaries, knowing that it will help you avoid being mistreated by others. Number 6. You're afraid that people will leave you or reject you. Establishing boundaries can be difficult, particularly if you're concerned about how the other person will react. Maybe you're afraid to bring up an issue because you care about the other person's feelings, or you fear they might reject you if they think you're not on their side. Perhaps you're worried that setting boundaries for yourself will make you seem weak or invite criticism from others. It's crucial to remember that you're not responsible for how others feel. You don't need to justify yourself to anyone. If something doesn't feel right to you, you have every right to say no. It's okay to take the time and space you need to feel comfortable and to ensure that your boundaries are respected. The more you practice setting boundaries, the easier it will become, and you'll be able to build more healthy and fulfilling relationships. Number 7. You make excuses for their behaviors. Have you ever found yourself making excuses for someone else's behavior, even when you know they were wrong? Maybe a friend made a hurtful comment, or your partner forgot an important event, but instead of speaking up, you found yourself making excuses for them. It's a common pattern for people with weak boundaries. They may avoid confrontation and justify the behavior of others, even when it's harmful to themselves. Instead of standing up for themselves, they may tell themselves that the other person didn't mean it, or that they were just joking. But by doing this, they are putting the needs and desires of others ahead of their own. They show poor boundaries and are willing to tolerate negative behavior without taking action. It can be challenging to confront someone about their behavior, especially if you're worried about their reaction. But you can protect yourself and improve your relationships by setting and enforcing healthy boundaries. Don't rationalize away negative behavior. Take action to protect yourself and your well-being. Number 8. The passive-aggressive traits are ever present in you. Picture this. You're at a family gathering, and your aunt brings up a touchy subject you'd rather not discuss. You feel frustrated, but instead of speaking up, you respond with a sarcastic comment that she doesn't understand. Later that night, you slam a door loudly as you go to bed, hoping your aunt will get the message that you're upset. This is an example of passive-aggressive behavior, which can signify unhealthy boundaries. By avoiding confrontation and suppressing your negative emotions, you're not addressing the root of the problem. Instead, you're using subtle, indirect methods to express your anger, which can confuse and frustrate the people around you. It's important to learn how to communicate your needs and feelings clearly and assertively rather than resorting to passive-aggressive conduct. Number 9. Your relationships are difficult or dramatic. Have you ever found yourself in relationships that felt draining and emotionally exhausting? Perhaps they were characterized by frequent arguments, drama, or even physical or emotional abuse. It can be challenging to pinpoint exactly what's causing the tension, but it could be due to weak boundaries. If you're someone who tries to avoid conflict and confrontation, you might find yourself constantly making compromises and allowing others to overstep your boundaries. Even when the violations are minor, such as canceling plans at the last minute or showing up late, it can create a sense of unease and resentment. If you don't speak up and express your needs and limits, the other person may continue to push your boundaries further and further. Over time, this can lead to a codependent and unhealthy dynamic in the relationship, where you are always giving and sacrificing and the other person is always taking. It's important to recognize your own limits and requirements and learn how to communicate them effectively. This will prevent others from taking advantage of you and improve the overall health and quality of your relationships. Setting boundaries can be challenging, especially if you have been used to accommodating others or have fears of rejection or conflict. However, it's a crucial skill to develop to protect your well-being, maintain healthy relationships, and achieve personal goals. It's important to note that everyone's experiences and boundaries are unique, and other signs or factors may influence one's abilities to set boundaries. Additionally, setting boundaries is not a one-time task, but an ongoing process that requires self-reflection, practice, and adaptation to changing circumstances. The bright side is that it's something that, with some work, can be improved. When it comes to setting boundaries, how do you do it? What do your boundaries look like? Leave a comment and tell us what you think. Please like and share this video if you find it entertaining, as this will encourage us to produce more content like it. Please subscribe and don't forget to turn on your notifications. We appreciate you taking the time to watch.